For this video, I thought I would showcase a version of Bomb Warrior that I've been playing on the Hearthstone ladder as of late, and this is an updated version because since the Round of Balance changes, I have added the newly created legendary Snip Snap to the list, simply because it's a great body, it provides a lot of utility, it can give you a little bit of burst because of the magnetic capability. Leaving behind the microbots can be very, very important in terms of the death rattle, specifically once you've played your Dr. Boom Mad Genius, because they'll have Rush. And overall, the rest of the list is pretty standard. You've got your mech package, your traditional warrior control package, and then the stuff with bomb synergy. So I am running Elec, I am running Clockwork Goblin, Wrench Caliber. This one is not running the 5-drop that creates bombs, but does have still Archivist at the top end to try to help with fatigue games, and also Archivist in the mirror can be a backbreaker. If you're in a mirror match and they have put a lot of bombs in your deck and you've put bombs in theirs, and you're getting down to the end and you have not yet drawn your bombs, sometimes the right play is to, instead of waiting for fatigue, just swapping out your deck and getting rid of all the bombs that were hanging out there. So if you can clear out, 4 bombs or something like that with an Archivist play, sometimes that's the right call, but overall the rest is pretty straightforward. As always, I will put a deck code in the video description, and we're going to go play a couple of games so that you can see the deck in action.
Garrosh versus Jaina.
So first up, we're against Mage, and the reality is this has the potential to be a really rough matchup. If Mage gets to the late game and we do not find the right board clears, if we don't have the answers for their big threats, they're just going to play big threat after big threat after big threat over and over, and we won't have a great way to deal with it. I'm not saying it's unwinnable by any means, but this is not what I would consider to be a good matchup for us. So we want to try to get some pressure early if possible, and we certainly want to keep their board clear if possible. Whether or not we find things like Brawl will be a big deal. Having this is a big deal because Dynamatic then represents 5 damage spread across threats, as well as being able to attack right away. That's important for trying to keep the board clear. Getting our armor totals high so that Shield Slam can deal with other large threats. Important. In theory, you could argue maybe I want to take the hero power there to start facilitating that, get that armor value high, but we also want to generate pressure. We want to pull out our creatures with Rush as well, our minions, so we can start that working. Alright. Interesting that they chose to coin that out instead of waiting one more turn, but maybe they just wanted to contest this board. Now we could punish that by getting a value trade with the Snip Snap. I think that's what we're gonna do here. Gives ourselves some armor. Now we are weak to silence in that regard, but keeps the board clear. And we want to continue to generate pressure if possible. We're going to take our attacks. We're going to save this for clearing threats. Being able to deal 5 to like a giant is a pretty big deal. We'll go ahead and armor up, make another rover, call it good. The Shield Slam is a great pickup, again, getting our armor high so that we can also use that as a way to deal with their big threats. That's a big deal. Pun intended, big threats, big deal, but you kind of see what the game plan is here.
Arena's full. Beat it.
Alright, so we can use this to clear this up because these are both mechs. Now we'll lose this in the process, but It's a good saturation, so we're fine with it. So this comes in. This will deal 5 to this. But this will allow this to at least get this in. Also gives us some armor. And we can push some damage. Now, they could use their hero power to take this out, but we'll get armor out of that as well. So overall, I think that's a fair trade-off as we continue to try to advance our board state. We just want to be in a position so that when they play a giant, we can answer it and hope that we can generate enough pressure. Alright. Well, that changes things a little bit. This is not enough to really get us there. But we do have Shield Slam. So I think that's what we're gonna have to do. I feel really bad using it there as opposed to on a giant, but we're also very quickly approaching the state where if they have a giant and the Conjurer's Calling, they'll be able to play them both from hand, and we won't have a chance to respond. And we've also seen a couple of plays, specifically this Doomsayer, that says they might not be on a Conjurer's Calling version. I mean, I doubt that's the case. Oh. That is a main deck shooting star. I'm not even angry, I'm just impressed. Alright, we're gonna go ahead and just Windmill Slam this so that we can start generating long-term value. Both our rush creatures we kind of want to hang out. This gives us a lot of armor. Gives us better hero powers going forward. Our other option was we could have played Shield Block and then maybe drawn into something, but if you have a free turn to develop your Mad Genius, I think you take it. Alright, so here comes the giant. And this is ruining our opportunity to trade the way that we would have liked. However, we can still get it done with a combination of our hero power and the commander, so
Defend the gates!
that will be our path. Sadly, it means we're not doing much else, but if you can keep these giants under control, if you can answer them appropriately, it's kind of a big win. So this is Raven number 2. We haven't seen the first results yet. That would have been this card up here. Warpath is an okay pickup. Let's see what this draws us. It's a very useful card, but we'll use it now, just take the value trade. Use our hero power to get the poke in. Well, we can. I mean, right now, the kind of hero powers we want to see are either the deal 3 damage one or the discover a mech one. Alright. It's potentially problematic for a number of reasons. But we can clear it. And we can also get some health back.
Unity, precision.
We're weak to silence by doing it this way, but it is also more health, and it's a slightly bigger body, and unless they're running some sort of silence effect in their deck, we're not likely to get too punished there. We do have an Elec to pair with our weapon here. That's a great start. If we draw a Goblin as well, that would be a perfect, 10 Magicka. It's a good clear for them. Slowly working our health total down. I think here we're just going to clear this out, develop a threat, put that bomb in the deck. Start working that angle. We want to get some bombs in there a bit ahead of time because we want Boom, if we do find him, to have some value. Still have some pretty powerful cards in our deck, actually, so... Both of our assemblies are there. Still have a shield slam, both of our brawls. We're in an okay position here. Meteorologists are causing some havoc for us, though. Let's go ahead and see what this gets us first. There's a good goblin. And it does trade in nicely, potentially, but we'll likely just use our weapon for that, I guess.
Somebody order a bomb! Take that!
Now the real question is, do we want to develop the weapons project here? We're giving them armor in doing so, and I'm not sure that's the way we want to go quite yet. I don't think we're in danger of getting bursted. And rolling blast shield will help potentially next turn, so we'll hold on to this in case we might run into a scenario, for example, where they do actually chip away at our armor and then make this irrelevant. Being able to make it jump up to 6. Wow. That's a really good roll from that messenger raven. And being that they were on coin, that's even more value. That means they had more cards in their opening hand. There's not a lot for us to do here. We really want to find some of our cards that generate value here. Blastmaster Boom would have been a good top deck. Omega Assemblies would have been a good top deck. Still haven't even found our main deck Clockwork Goblins, which is a bit sad, but we're gonna do this for sure. I just don't think this is where we want to use our Shield Slam. So I actually think we let this go. Not a big fan of letting them keep things on the board like that, but... Alright. Glad we saved the warpath here. We'd love to develop this, but now we need to clear the threat, so... we're going to go ahead and just use the warpath to get that done, since everything here very neatly has 5 health. But because we rolled this as our hero power, we'll use this as the end, because that also gets us some chip damage on the enemy hero. And then next turn, if we need to, we have assembly and delivery drone, so we can refill our hand with some glorious mechs. Get ourselves back in the game in terms of developing threats. Oh, this
Arena's full. Beat it.
Dangerous, but they don't have a Conjurer's Calling, so it's actually not as dangerous as it could have been. So in this instance, I actually think we'll go ahead and use this. Yeah, see, we're going to be rewarded here. We'll Shield Slam one. And nuke the other one. And then our hand is small enough we can just spend some of the leftover fill up there. We'll wait on that. So again, Mage can be a problem for Warrior if you don't have the removal on hand, because they just keep generating big threats, but so far we've been okay. So that's telling, because that tells us they've got an expensive spell. Seeing as we saw Alexstrasza, it's probably Pyroblast, right? Like, this is likely some form of Freeze Mage. So there's our Boomer buddy. Seems like a great play.
Let's blow this place.
So we can go ahead and work on getting some of that value.
Job done.
Like so. Alright, bomb went off. Thankfully, after we played our Blast Master. Blast Shield here is a good pickup for us, so we can keep that moving. And our hand is still looking pretty good here. Nullifier is great against Mage. This is a good pickup once you've played Mad Genius. Wow, they really like the Meteorologists. Down to 5 though. So if they do not have an answer for the Boombot here, we will secure a victory. And looks like they have come to the same conclusion. So again, Mage can be a bad matchup, but if you have the removal, then you can usually do what we've done and just kind of outvalue them while trying to generate pressure. If we draw the wrong half of our deck at the wrong time, if they stick those big giants, for example, you can have a real problem against Mage. So let's play another game.
Garrosh versus Illyria.
Tremble before the
So
might
speaking of
comes.
potentially bad matchups,
Victory or death!
this one is going to be rough if it is the Mech Hunter. Keeping this is kind of a risk, but I need to have some sort of early answer for the board. It's one of our better ones. Shield Slam's great here with Weapons Project, so this helps. And Crier. I would have liked a Rover there, but beggars can't be choosers. A 1-drop is a 1-drop. So Mech Hunter is a problem because it makes cards like Dino-Matic just overall pretty bad in this particular matchup. But if you're against Beast Hunter or Secret Hunter, then you're pretty well positioned. This usually means it's going to be Beast Hunter. So we should be okay here. Beast Hunter can play like a mid-range deck, and if you don't have the removal, then it's very much like the Mage game that we just played, right? Where they can just continue to play relevant threat after relevant threat, and you're kind of stuck removing them over and over. So we're not necessarily out of the woods just because it's not Mech Hunter. You have to answer, but oh yeah, mistake. I think they forgot that they had 2 mana and they coined out when they didn't need it, which we will happily accept. We're not going to use a Shield Slam on this. Weapons Project is a wee bit early when we want to be able to potentially pair it with Shield Slam. So in this instance, I think we just Hero Power up while they have the 1/1. Alright, there's that Rover, but
Defend the gates!
got all these beautiful rush creatures in our hand, we might as well start using them. So we have the Double Commander and the Ziliax. Alright, so our turns are going to be pretty similar here, back to back, because we're going to just follow up with the exact same thing that we did before.
Defend the gates! To me!
Except we're also going to develop this. But again, like, we're going to take out the 4/4 taunt with our charger. They're going to then trade back with the 1/1. Or maybe not. What is this? A baited arrow created by the Shimmerfly. Well, that is not a great outcome for us, but thankfully we have some decent answers available. So this will give us some armor. This will give us some armor. And we can just Shield Slam it. Could have also played Weapons Project there, but again, saving it to pair is oftentimes still really relevant. Against Hunter, their hero power has a lot of ways to just keep kind of punching you, so keeping your armor up against them is sometimes a challenge. It would be really tempting to just toss this down, however, leaving that up is a bit of a liability. Tough call, tough call. Because once this comes down, if we don't roll Blast Shield, we don't have consistent ways to generate armor either. But I think we're still going to do it. Gets us up to 13 as far as the armor goes. We do still have Weapons Project. We've already used 1 Shield Slam, so once this one is gone, outside of like keeping us alive, the armor issue isn't as big of a deal, so... I think this is acceptable. Alright, so sadly, I was just thinking that would be a great time for us to top deck one of those Dynamatics. We did not find it though, so we'll see if we can find it here. And we did not. This is a great card, but not for this turn. So now we will take the Shield Slam while we can still get some value out of it. And then we're also going to go ahead and at least just get rid of one of these here. So if we do start to get low, being able to get the 7/7 is pretty relevant, because then if it survives for even a turn, then Ziliax represents an awful lot coming back. Death rattles, huh? Alright, this is pretty relevant. And we do have our hero power as well. So the question is, how do we want to handle that? We need to swing with this first is our biggest issue, because we want another bomb in for this. So we're going to be stuck taking some damage here, but I think that this is correct. Let's get rid of that. And then we'll kind of see where this goes from here. We really want this to die. Wow.
Incredible!
So we didn't exactly get the outcome we were hoping for, but beggars can't be choosers. In this particular matchup, we don't, I think, want all that damage to go face. We're not trying to race them. We want control of the board. So we wanted the high main to die so these popped up, and then we could continue to kind of get rid of things. Yeah, this is potentially painful. We have Brawl. This would be a great turn for us to pick up Warpath, actually. We kind of got none of that. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and do this, because we want the 7/7. We're also going to go ahead and develop this, because this will give us a nice trade. And we'll take this out as well. So, unless they have the, what is it? I think Deadly Shot, the destroy a random creature, which will absolutely just nuke that. We should be in a good position for this to survive, and then hit it with a pretty sizable Ziliax. Suppose if they've got enough rush stuff, that could be an issue. Oh, alright. That is also an issue. It's a great turn for them. Not so much us. Great turn for them. Again, we do have this Ziliax play, which feels pretty good.
Unity, precision, perfection.
We're also going to make sure we use our hero power here, because if they do have the destroy a random minion, destroy a random creature, we want it to be a 25% chance. Well, I mean, it would be greater than that, but you get the idea, right? We don't want it to be 100% chance there, so. This will be nice for us next turn. Wow, that's a lot of hounds. So they're gonna clear that out, but they're spending an awful lot of resources to do so. So I feel pretty good about that. They take some damage. We're topped off. We'll get shields. We're getting low on cards even after the Master's Call that I did play. So we're not looking too bad. Oh. Well.
Now.
I see you. Now would be a great time to top deck that Warpath. I mean, I feel really bad about brawling on these dogs, but we might just have to do that. Yeah, it looks like we might just have to do that. We certainly don't want to leave them with tools available, you know? Oh, and then naturally we roll kaboom afterwards. Oh well. It is what it is. Still have 2 Dynamatics in there, which are great for us. So we have a lot of powerful cards left.
Masterful.
Both of our Omega assemblies, and they just concede. Okay, so there you have it. We survived the onslaught. Mech Hunter can be a problem against Beast Hunter. Like I said, you're usually a little bit better. Ironically, Dynomatic ended up not mattering. We didn't draw it, but that's usually a pretty big card in this matchup. Anyway, that is the current version of Warrior that I've been playing on the ladder. So if you've made it this far, I appreciate you watching the video. Please consider subscribing if you have not yet done so. I'm trying to get better at remembering to say that, but I appreciate you, and I hope to catch you in the next video.